Is this a bad sign?
That the federal government is arming up and that they're ready to take on the Marines. I think from this article, there's about 200,000 or more federal agents that are armed with arrest capabilities versus 180,000 Marines or something like that.
And you know, the Marines are just backup for the IRS, apparently. I don't know. I'm reading this off the screen and it's just amazing. The IRS by the numbers, because the IRS is all about numbers. So since 2006, they've spent $35.2 million on guns. That's almost as much as you've spent.
Close.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. But the IRS now has military-style equipment, including AR-15 rifles and HK-416s and combat shotguns and stuff like that. But deeper into the story, we're getting more and more armed and militarized government agencies, even like the post office. You can't even carry your gun in the post office parking lot, but postal inspectors are armed with all sorts of stuff. Is this a bad sign?
That the federal government is arming up and that they're ready to take on the Marines. I think from this article, there's about 200,000 or more federal agents that are armed with arrest capabilities versus 180,000 Marines or something like that.
And you know, the Marines are just backup for the IRS, apparently. I don't know.
I mean, I would generally probably trust Marines more than my friendly local federal agent, but
you're going to get mail.
or I'm not going to get mail, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Mail.
I mean, look, there's, okay. So for those of you who don't know, retired law enforcement, former state prosecutor, we obviously both come from law enforcement backgrounds in essence. So we're not principally or ideologically opposed to the whole notion of law enforcement. But we also know that people aren't perfect. Humans are humans. Every institution made by humans will have flaws and problems. And that's part of the danger of when you give those institutions more power and more power and more power is the bad things. Well, they have a way of brushing themselves underneath the rug, and they have a way of just continuously happening over and over and over again, particularly when we make those institutions run by unelected bureaucrats. And I think that's kind of the concern here.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm looking at this and wondering, is it out there somewhere, an IRS SWAT team? Are they going to need heavily armed IRS agents to storm in and do an audit of a tax firm or a legal firm or a company like the USCCA?
A forensic audit with ballistic shields.
Yeah, we're flashbang and we're coming in the door and I want to see what you guys have.
Show me your receipts.
Yeah. Give me your files right now. And we're at gunpoint. But we're talking about, thousands and thousands of agents armed. And I was a cop for a long time. And yeah, there are some places where people have to go to enforce the law where you don't want to go there without a gun. And I understand that. And I understand the need for training and qualification and different things like that. But really, U.S. postal inspectors and IRS agents and other, let's call them obscure or non-law enforcement style agencies, if they're not patrolling, are they really a law enforcement agency? I don't understand the need and the desire to spend this much money on firearms and 5 million rounds of ammunition. I mean, what? Okay, I hope they're doing a lot of training.
Yeah, and you look through some of the numbers that's in here. I mean, you've got thousands of firearms, 500 million rounds, or 500 million, wow, okay, 5 million rounds.
That's wishful thinking.
That's wishful thinking, right? That's what I want,
yes.
Right? So that would be a good start.
Yeah.
Right, and then they've got all of these AR-15s as well as HK-416s, all this other kind of stuff. And then further on, you see a bunch of stuff that they spent on tactical lighting, night vision equipment, $47,000, $100,000 worth of virtual reality simulation training, ballistic shields, body armor. I mean, I would say, yes, there is an IRS SWAT team, because if I put a SWAT team on paper, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, this is stuff they're going to have. And again, this is 2,100 agents somewhere in that neighborhood. And 5 million rounds of ammunition, and you get an AR-15 and you get an AR-15 and you get
full
a shot.
Oprah is what's happening here.
Everything is being thrown together. And I'm just looking at this as, hey, your tax dollars at work. And is this, are we arming all of the new 93,000 agents or whatever that the IRS was going to hire under the new Biden administration? What's going to happen as more and more agencies get more and more firearms? Quick pause here to remind you that we have a super secret giveaway going on right now. It's absolutely free. Just click the link in the description down below to find out what you could win. Now back to the video.
Well, and as the article starts out, it says that since 2006, there's been 103 rank and file agencies, and that's outside of Department of Defense, so outside DoD, that spent $3.7 billion with a B, billion dollars on guns. 103 rank and file agencies. Okay, so outside the Department of Defense, though. So this is like what? The EPA, the post office.
Housing and urban development.
Right, yeah, housing and urban development. They may need it, to be fair. If anybody needs it, it might be HUD. But yeah, no, I mean, this is at a minimum eyebrow raising.
And as some anti-gunners say, well, you know, only the police should have firearms. It looks like everybody is getting firearms if you work in the federal government. And to me, that doesn't bode well for the common citizen.
Well, I mean, look, there's always that balance of power, so to speak, between how much power we put in government, and the more power we put in government, we're implicitly taking it away to one degree or another from the people, right? So I think that's where you start to get into these issues of, well, if we just keep arming the government and making it bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger, what's the end game here?
Yeah, what are they going to do? I mean, the IRS typically sends you some strongly worded letters, and now it's strongly worded letter followed up by a guy with a ballistic shield and night vision goggles and an auto-loading shotgun. Or, oh no, I'm sorry, pump-action shotguns.
Pump-action. Although I did see some Beretta 1301s, which are some of my favorite Berettas. That was $463,000 for Beretta 1301 tactical shotguns.
Wow.
I mean, so here's what I take out of this. If they're going to spend the money, I'm at least glad that they're not buying like Jennings handguns.
Yeah.
Like they're getting nice stuff. So it's like, okay.
They're getting the good stuff. And eventually this is going to end up in the aftermarket when they turn it in, and then we get to buy surplus guns. I've always said before, you know, I have a Beretta pistol and a Glock from the San Antonio Police Department. I'm like, San Antonio has the best rummage sales. So this might be, you know, 8 years down the road, they need all new guns, and this stuff's going to show up on the secondary market. A
fun CMP, explosion of 1301 Beretta shotguns or whatever else coming to us. So, I mean, maybe that's a silver lining. That, you know, we the citizens are really playing the long game here. Right. That's kind of maybe what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, your tax dollars at work. This is not federally funded. This is taxpayer funded. That's, you know, that's the term I like to use. Well, thanks for chatting with me about this, Tom. It's always great to hear your insight. And this is just one of those things that just keeps popping up in the news. We got to talk about it. People need to know about it because they need to know what's going on. And, you know, let us know in the comment field what you think is going to happen. Where is this going? Why are they doing this? Yeah, absolutely. Before you go, you just missed one of our best videos that got over 500,000 views. Click right here to watch it now.